So crypto is nuking again. Great. Another day, another day we lose all our money. It's just normal. Everybody just loses money every day in crypto. It's the harshest, dirtiest, nastiest financial market I've ever seen. I know stocks are bad, but come to crypto if you think that's bad. This is financial suicide. However, I've got good news. I think that may be the dump over at about 110k. I think worst case we come down to 108k and then bounce at least for the short term. I did mention this yesterday that we could come down to 112k, but I also showed you a couple of days ago that on the heat map a lot of liquidity did lie around 108k. So it was a possibility that we did come down to that. And look, we're taking it all out now. Now, we are still in fear, which usually shows that it is a good time to buy, especially in a bull market when we expect at least a couple of weeks of higher prices. But James doesn't want to FUD. But if you were here in 2021 and 2017 or 2015 with Bitcoin, you know that it's very possible for it to go down to 70k. But with gold going to overbought territory, insanely overbought territory, I think capital should flow into Bitcoin next, especially if gold decides to cool down. So I think everybody's getting scared for no reason. But the Bitcoin whale is now sitting on 18.4 million of unrealized profit in his short position. And people are saying that they don't want to fade his calls next time. But he was right. I thought this was a bluff. I thought he wouldn't actually get this correct. But he's actually made money on short in the market, which was an insanely large position as well. So next time the whales do something like that, you have to keep an eye out. I didn't know about it, but I don't want to completely follow them because we know what happened with James Wynn losing 100 million. 100 million. This guy closed his positions and after a couple of hours everything got nuked. Please, please, please stop selling, people. Stop selling. Because this market, man, I want it to go a lot higher. I want to get... Everybody wants to get rich from this. But chances are this cycle, you're not going to see that. You might make a little bit of money, but getting rich from these professional markets is what I'd call them because retail aren't here, is rare, man.
We're going to break all-time high for Bitcoin's price because Trump's going to do a deal with China. Right now he's negotiating. This is why tariffs are 100% for China. There's no way he's just going to let go of all that money. He's negotiating. This is what this candlestick is. This is Bitcoin's price. And the only reason it dropped is because Trump is negotiating with China. As soon as he comes out with some positive news like, hey, we did a deal with China. This is going to skyrocket, break all-time high, and we are going to make a lot of money off of altcoins. I hope, bro, yo, wake up. Hey, do you see it? Everybody's freaking out because the SPX topped, right? Massive candlestick after Trump announced 100% tariff policy on China. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is a shakeout. Let me show you. First things first, Bitcoin bounced almost exactly where I said. Again, I drew this circle before the bounce. As you can see right there, we're making higher lows. Look at the line. Look, low here, low there, higher lows. Let's take a look at the volatility of the S&P 500 index. Basically what this means is it shows the fear of the stock market. When there's big price swings, people get a little scared. Volatility means massive price swings. So as you can see very clearly, when it spikes up a lot, look at the price of the S&P 500. It dropped about 18%. And so what I did is I looked at our current volatility and I gauged it according to what happened in the past. As you can see right here, we have this green spike of our current volatility of the S&P 500. And the red lines, as you can see right there, the vertical lines, all of these red lines are every single time we touched the same volatility level of what we're experiencing right now. And as you can see, there's a lot of times we touched. And there's only really been one moment where that actual touch led to a meaningful drop in the S&P 500 price. Look at how many red lines there are. Not every time led to a market turn down. Only this period of time led to the S&P 500 dropping. So obviously this is important for crypto because the S&P 500 represents the stocks. And stocks represent risk on assets. And Bitcoin and crypto are risk on assets. So basically people are not that scared right now. And if we take a look at Bitcoin's dominance, look, it's dropping again, right? As you can see on a shorter time horizon, it's dropping, confirming what I'm saying. People are not that scared. Bitcoin dominance dropping means that people are accumulating altcoins. Altcoins are super risky. So right here in a shorter time horizon, people are getting really risky right now. So this is good. This is hype. This is like a sign for price increase. Don't forget, we have the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates on the 28th and 29th, towards the end of this month. There's a high likelihood, like a 96% chance. Look, 96.2% chance are the probabilities of the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates. And the cutting of the interest rates leads to more liquidity in the system. Combine that with the stablecoin regulation that we have with the Genius Act, which basically duplicates the liquidity in crypto. We have a really good flat, like, I don't, like, pay attention. As soon as Trump literally comes on the internet and says, hey, we did a deal with China, that thing is going to hit, bro. It's going to hit. I'm telling you, I believe we'll break all time high, but again, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. But I would bet on it. I'm betting on it right now. That's what trading is. I'm betting on the fact that it will go up.
I hope you're right, my dog. I hope you're right, because altcoins have bottomed, and they look like they have been through the worst time I've ever seen. Look at this high, and it's gone all the way to the lows, and everybody
We're
holding
gonna break all
altcoins are
time
getting
high.
smoked, man. Leverage traders learning they could hold spot. Bro, the majority of leverage traders got cooked, man. It's not good. But if you compare March 2020 versus October 2025, there's a lot of similarities. After March 2020 flash crash, we had a huge alt season. I think it will happen again. But I also want to show a counter argument to that. Firstly, it could be the end. Secondly, when we got this large crash that we saw here, a few weeks ago, on the 11th of October, it came down again. So it touched this line a few times and even went below it a couple of times before actually moving higher. This was yesterday. And if we move over to the 26th of September, a very similar thing happened. So we wicked down, we stayed there for a while. So we may stay here for at least a few days, maybe even a week or two, before we see higher prices. Obviously, we need to be optimistic, and Bitcoin is bouncing because it was oversold on the 15-minute time frame. So hopefully we can see a meaningful price rise to the upside. But I also want to provide an alternate scenario because everything isn't roses, and you need to make sure you take profit out of this market unless you want to get smoked, which is what you've seen over the last few days.